So our panelist for the panel discussion is, I would request Mr. Himanshu Sirohi, Head of Digital Marketing, Apollo 24/7, Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, GM Growth, Hunasa Consumer, Mr. Veda Bashishta, Digital Marketing Lead, Mech Enro, Wildstone and Secret Temptation, and Nikita Malhotra Singh, Global Head of Digital Woodland, to please join us. The session is chaired by Mr. Jayant Basantani, Vice President, India Business, Mob Avenue. I would request him to please join us. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause and let's begin our panel discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Adgully, for giving us the platform and speaking about one of the most engaging topic right now, which is personalization and engagement in mobile advertising. So maybe we can first introduce ourselves and then we can talk about the questions. So my name is Jayant. I lead overall India business for Mob Avenue. We are a growth marketing platform helping almost 300 plus brands in India and across the globe in the user acquisition and remarketing ecosystem. Himanshu, over to you.
I am Imanshu. I lead the digital marketing mandate for Apollo 247, which is the digital arm of the Apollo Hospitals Group. And I take care of everything digital, organic, content, social, performance, analytics. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ved Vashisht. I lead the digital marketing for McEnroe. It is the one of the top fragrance brand in the country. Wildstone, Code, and Secret Temptations are the brand that it houses. And I'm responsible for end-to-end 360 digital marketing for the organization.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikita. I work with Woodland. I largely take care of their digital footprint. Woodland, as most of you might know, is a legacy brand that we know mostly for boots and jackets, but there are multiple other verticals that we have, like fashion wear, like formal wear, and sportswear. So that's largely my expertise of marketing it on digital.
Hi, I'm Jitendra Chaudhary, GM Honasa. I'm part of growth team and leading digital for Honasa brands. Popularly, one of two brands you might be knowing is Mamaearth. Uh,
Thank you, everyone. Since the panel is very varied, which ranges from a healthcare to a grooming, personal brand, and legacy brands, so would love to understand from each one of you, like, since every user is very, very different these days, so how do you, is it difficult or easy to reach out to the right set of audience? And how does personalization comes into the picture, especially starting with Himanshu, since you come from a healthcare background? If you don't have personalization, there might be chances that the diabetes person will be targeted for maybe some other disease. So how do you solve that?
Okay, so again, at Apollo, we work with very diverse sets of data, right? One, it's an old group. It's a 40-year-old company with huge amounts of data, both structured, unstructured, lying in different legacy systems, as well as some new systems that we have built over time. Now, and again, each user type is very different. We take care of someone's health end to end. So it's like a continuum of care, right from primary, secondary to tertiary. And across the group, we kind of manage it. Now, personalization for us is not only digital. It's both omni, which is offline, and also online with across any of our digital assets. I'll probably give you an example. Uh, Apollo Pharmacy, you would see some 6,000 pharmacies. We do about 1 million orders a day. And then online, Apollo 247 app and the website, we do around 100K orders a day. Now, these are huge volumes. For the customer, it's not two different companies that he's interacting, right? Both offline, online is the same Apollo group that he's interacting with. Now, maintaining that sanctity of the user data and then passing it across my digital ecosystem as well as my omni ecosystem, which is stores and whatnot. So if an example can be, imagine you probably are buying diabetes medicine as Jayan just suggested, and probably you bought it online from my app. Now, when you are going to the store person must also have access to that data, that what category does this customer fall into. So if he's buying, an example can be a Janumit medicine. Can I see the entire history? Can I suggest him 10 more things that would be relevant to the customer? So that kind of helps your sales force both offline as well as online, wherein using those offline elements and kind of changing everything on the go for the user when they are digitally active. An example can be someone buying a certain face wash on offline and me suggesting couple of things online and kind of targeting the user across the ecosystem. So for me, personalization as a look at it, it has to be very 360 degree, not only digital, not only offline, and then against different customer attributes that you collect over time.
Yes, very valid point. Vida, what about you?
So I think that since the origin of digital, personalization has solved a lot of problems with us. Beginning with the targeting aspect, now we are able to focus more even in terms of a few hundred meters in general. On the other hand, I think it has helped a lot in retaining the customers because, of course, if you are like throwing out communication which is a bit massy in nature, like, hey, we got this or something like that, and instead it's using your name with that kind of personalization, it creates a all different kind of impact, and you will definitely see the growth in retention whenever you use it effectively and not in a you're trying to push it harder every time, which makes the customers frustrated.
What about you, Nikita?
So, I like to think of personalization as that little wow factor when you're speaking to your customer. The moment the customer thinks, oh my God, this brand did something which is for me and nobody else. The same thing won't apply to, say, Veda, that it applies to Nikita. So it can be done creatively. And I think in my previous avatars, I might have worked with a lot of structured data, and it was way easier to personalize with structured data because you have your attributes set and you can do that. But I think the biggest unlock for me was to look at personalization from a very human perspective. If I don't have structured data, say I don't know what my customer has previously bought from me, I still know certain things. I know which mobile device it's using because I can use a vendor that'll tell me. What is the temperature outside, we'll know. So these little things to kind of just dynamically change and talk to someone at the right time कि भाई तुम चाय पी रहे हो साथ में बिस्किट खा लो, stuff like that is where personalization can really shine through. And ultimately marketing is one person feeling attracted towards a brand or feeling ki yeah, this brand gets me. So I think that's where the game is. Data, of course, very important, and you can do phenomenal things with it. But to do a lot with little, I think that's where the magic really happens.
Jitendra, I think there are 5 brands for Honasa, and every brand is very, very different from each other. So, how do you take care of the personalization when reaching out to the right set of audience?
I think at Honasa, if you look at the brands are created like different brands, different proportion, but same subcategory. So let's suppose 4 brands distributing sunscreen, but the TG is very, very different, and it becomes all the more important for us to rightly target on the right context. Uh, so and from a so there are 3 parts to it. One is how you target from a new user perspective, how you are building the awareness bit of it. Second is your first party data and how you are using it, what delight you are adding to through your communication as a part of your and the third part is like we are D2C first, so how you are ensuring the experience of the user when he's landing on the platform. So ours is very sophisticated one. When once you enter into the website ecosystem, a lot of automated data points and plugins we are using. So user also gets a context like wherever you have left in your user journey or what you have bought in the past or you have added to the cart. Most of our first party communications are based on that. lot and lot of segmentation. From a new user perspective also, that we got into the loop of AI, and these platforms are pushing more and more. But uh, this is leading up to most of the spillage of the sprints. We are going back again to the traditional path of identifying the right triggers, right interests, data points on the new user itself, and then segmenting the brand positioning according to that. So that's how we're building it.
Nice. So, with the evolution, as you mentioned, AI and machine learning, so with the evolution of AI and machine learning coming into the picture, and I think it's hitting its peak, so how do you create a very balance between like user experience, engagement, and so that the user is not getting irritated? So, any particular personalization that you have been taking into consideration when you are managing the campaigns? So, Imanshu, any particular thing which you mind that users should not get offended or might get irritated because of what they are seeing? So any method which you follow?
Yeah, so again, for a category like us, right, healthcare, there's a very different divide, and it's my everyday problem. Who's the customer, who's the consumer? While I'll be buying a certain medicine, I might be buying for my dad or my mom. And again, there are so many different use cases where you are probably browsing or probably buying something. And what if I target, right? Imagine someone buying maybe a sexual wellness product from me, and me trying to target this individual via some inventory, and probably someone from his family is probably looking at it. CTV retargeting can be one of the examples, right? Or probably these Alexa sound boxes, now they let you retarget. So imagine telling someone's father that the kid bought a sexual wellness product. Hey, do you want to continue your journey again? You added something to the cart. So again, and there are a whole lot of use cases. Health is a very sensitive matter. Sometimes you don't even want to share everything with your family, right? It's very, very confidential and personal and private to yourself. So a lot of times that is where we have to create a very clear divide between personalization and user privacy. And then the second element probably to it would always be respecting the user, right, across channels. Trying to one figure out or locking down whether is this the right user, is this something the person wants, and I'm not really kind of entering that zone where the user probably might get freaked out by it.
Veda?
Uh, well, I believe that it can be managed efficiently by three different aspects. One part is the cohort which you create to understand what kind of user is placed where and what kind of behavior they have shown in the past. The second part is the consent. It is really important if you are getting into uh, like if you're getting into their WhatsApp, for example. So the consent part is really important because nowadays even I think everyone must have received some marketing message on their WhatsApp that they have ignored. And the third part is the option for the user to pick if they want to stick there or not. Like a simple unsubscribe that we have been using for so long in emails should be available so that that particular boundary is not crossed where the user gets annoyed with whatever we are trying to communicate there.
Yes, Nikita.
I'm going to take a very contrarian answer to this, and that's my approach. I think we haven't hit the peak yet with AI. है अभी काफ़ी कुछ होना. There I see a day where I see my own face as the user in the ad coming my way, which I mean sounds dystopian but not very far away. That is personalization on a next level. There was a news very recently that came out that a company is paying $45 to people to just come and give their face ID and thumbprints and eye recognition. So, and people are doing it willingly because that's the poverty that we're dealing with. Uh, we have a long way to go with AI, but I think it is always going to be that balance of how do you not scare the customer away कि you know so much. And I think that's what you also touched upon a little bit कि भाई अगर sexual wellness का दे दिया आपने ad तो डर के then they won't use it. The easiest answer to that would be just the baseline frequency cap, that don't hit more than, say, whatever the mandate for your own industry is. For us, it would probably be once a week on WhatsApp and maybe once a week on your email, because Woodland, how many times are you really going to buy retail, right? But I'm sure that other industries have it differently. But yeah, there is such a long way for us to go. And I think there'll be a time where it'll be okay for us to just see our own faces coming in ads, and we'll expect it. If we can get ads on a low battery, that you should buy another phone which has a better battery life, because some ad can be done that way. Why not? My thoughts. Sorry.
What about you, Jitendra?
I think, like, from an AI perspective, the engines know a user better than the user knows himself or herself, right? So if you're not in the race of utilizing those capabilities in the competitive landscape, you will be far behind in terms of personalization. Uh, so most of the platform, if you interact with any one category of ad, and if your data points are not fed into the system, and the more data points if you provide to these platforms, the better becomes the targeting. You open a single jewelry website and next your Meta feed or Instagram feed will be flooded with all the jewelry brands. So if you are not present there, the differentiating factor becomes is that how different you are from a communication perspective. So that has to be very tailored, very much from a TG perspective. Uh, Maybe a Gen Z audience consumes a different kind of content, look and feel, colors perceived differently versus a 50-year-old, which is more sophisticated, very subtle. So this we are utilizing in terms of targeting via Meta. Uh, the DPA targetings are very much part of each brand's significant portfolio. The second part becomes is that while again on the first party data you interact, uh, these AI tools will keep on listening that send communication to these users. Earlier email was very effective channel, but as of now I don't think that the CTRs or the response rate on email is very poor, and most of the brands have moved on from email. Similar things are happening on WhatsApp as well. So, and it becomes like a cocaine type of thing when you send a campaign and your existing buyers are converting, and the frequency keep on increasing. So as like I mentioned, it is very important to have a ceiling of frequency, like weekly, not more than 2 WhatsApp communication will go into a user's inbox. And during sale times also, we also under the pressure of revenue overutilize it. Uh, but we have set up those guardrails because users start complaining. It becomes from like if user in love with your product is so good, but if you keep doing over targeting, it moves away or brings that ilk in the user, which in the longer run might damage your brand.
Got it. So starting from Veda and Nikita, this is especially for you. So what are the tools, softwares, products that you used in terms of personalization? Because majority of you both would be having offline stores, and how do you measure the effectiveness of the campaign? So Veda and Nikita, first we start with you, since majorly it is offline ecosystem, and then moving forward to Himanshu and then Jitendra. Yeah, Veda.
So offline, I won't say much. Reason being, it is majorly a GT-based business. MT is something very precisely new. But when we talk about the digital ecosystem, I think all the basic tools that you are already aware of, which is like Google Meta, these are there. But nowadays there are like super focused tools where you can actually target the customer based on the behavior. If even if they have like visited your website or app, I would say there are two names that come on top. One is like there is a application named GoPass, if I'm not wrong, and the second one is Nitro. So how they actually function is that whenever they have a cloud of user base which they have created with user consent, and what they do is that whenever the user visits, let's say, a brand's website, and the same user is moving somewhere else, they are aware that this particular user has visited this website, saw this product or service, whatever that is, and then it's an omni-channel communication. We can like do it even via Meta, maybe via Cred or any other affiliate, or including programmatic.
Nikita, what about yours?
So for us, because there is a huge retail footprint that we have, Google My Business listings and monitoring what information and data we're getting out of that is one of the ways that we figure, and it also informs our next retail footprint. We do a lot of heat mapping in terms of where the business is coming, where the chatter is coming from, meaning there is demand and hence there should be probably a retail store there. Beyond that, of course, much like Oveda mentioned, there are channel partners. Epsilon is also one Nitro who we're also in talks with, where basically then you follow the customer around, right? You make sure that if someone's come and probably dropped a pin on your space, then you're able to kind of talk to them later somewhere else. That's basically how we go about it. One thing that I do want to mention is that this personalization isn't that extreme in our case, because there is a lot of things that we need to future-proof right now. So we're in the building process. So it's more, where is the value proposition for the business that's coming from? But I know for a fact that Epsilon, Nitro, and all of these ad tech platforms also really empower your business into figuring out where to place your ad. So, yeah.
Is it different for the digital ecosystem or is it similar?
For us also, quick chat is which provides us insights on the users coming to website. Uh, Shopify has empowered us a lot. There's lot of APIs which enable you to provide this, again, very much contextual functionality on the website or app, how the user has interacted, what he has done, how much time he has spent, and you can set up rules, what to show, how to show. Cross-sell, upsell is so much easier for us. The product discovery becomes very easier, that if some kind of product user is interacting with, through our past purchaser data, we see what is the FBT frequently bought together from each subcategory, and then cross categories. So, and this is how our sequencing showing the user works. Uh, on MoEngage itself, uh, they provide us segments on the churning, potentially churning users, when to send, at what time, what minute to send the campaign, and you can just set up the rules. MoEngage will do itself. Uh, from a Meta and Google perspective, they also provide you this advanced analytics and ADH on Google. So right from impression to final purchase, and generally most of the brands have these separate teams, which is one is a performance marketing, one is a brand marketing. But these tools provide you full picture, like right from your reach on a brand campaign to final conversion via performance campaign, how the users are interacting, and so these tools are super powerful.
Himanshu?
So I think personalization earlier, some time back, it used to be very standalone, right? There would be someone managing your CRM. That person would be doing some bit of personalization there. You would have your performance brand teams doing some bit of personalization on your different side of campaigns you do. There would be a team who would manage your website app. They would personalize things on the go sometimes. And none of them probably used to talk. And that is where I think things are changing big time. So what is probably happening, and I see a lot of it happening, is there are personalization head positions which are coming up, where there's one central person kind of or team managing it across, because it's one customer kind of navigating from offline to online to different channels. So probably I'll break it down into four pillars, the way I look at personalization and how we use different tools. So one is obviously your media side of things, where you do prospecting, retargeting, And then while prospecting, you are mostly driven by context, wherein what is the context where this user is, and you're kind of trying to create different ads and probably trying to set up a communication wherein this user kind of engages with your ad in the best possible manner. Then there's obviously dynamic creative optimizers. So DCOs will probably change different things, and we use several across different DSPs. One of them, again, we work with Movenue as well. These DSPs kind of help us navigate media and help us optimize creatives on the go basis the kind of affinity the user is. Is it contextual or is it via retargeting? Then probably once the user lands on your asset, and it can be a point of sale. For me, it is probably three. It is my website, it is my app, it is my Omni stores where the user kind of ends up going. So web and app, we use Contentful as the platform to kind of optimize experiences on the go. So right from action cards, reminders, what product or what offering to throw at a certain user at a different point of time. All of that is kind of driven via Contentful, but backed by data which is stored. So Clever Tab we use as a single customer DNA sort of a source which has all the attributes of a user. And the moment we are able to identify a user, that is where Contentful kind of optimizes those experiences. Same story on the store also, wherein the moment the store guy kind of inputs a number when you order, the kind of DNA comes out of Clever Tap back into the store engine, and the my store guys exactly knows what is the user history, what is the affinity, what do they order, all of that kind of goes there. And then probably the third aspect to it would be your campaign orchestration engine, which again for us is Clever Tap, wherein we kind of have this orchestration engine across each of the set of campaigns, whether probably it's some omni data and I'm trying to get this user from offline to online, what kind of attributes with this user interact with, or probably if I'm trying to engage this user, which channel would convert, as Jitendra mentioned, right? What user is most likely to churn, what time will this user buy. So all of those betas we're using inside of Clever Tap to kind of figure that out. And then I think the fourth most important pillar is how are you storing your data? How are you storing your customer DNA? That kind of powers everything across all the other three pillars. So I think it has to be looked very holistically, and the tools, segments, everything has to interact. They have to seamlessly be passed from one tool to another when the user hops across different platforms, and it all has to happen in real time.
I think nice inputs from everybody. In the interest of time, the last question where we can spend one minute each is that any use case or any campaign which you used in personalization which is very dear to you, you can talk about your campaign or maybe any campaign which you liked. For me, I think there was a Happy Mother's Day where Zomato used, you just type the name of your mother and there will be a personalized message from a celebrity wishing her a Happy Mother's Day along with the cake. So, Himanshu, any use case for Apollo 24/7 or maybe any recent example where you have seen personalization and you were wowed?
Okay, so so we created something called Ask Apollo some time back. So what Ask Apollo typically does is it's a complete AI engine, uh, and then what it does is it has all the attributes, because no one across the healthcare industry has that much longitudinal and latitudinal data about a single customer. About 40 crore customers have transacted or probably used our services over the last few years. So now the whole idea was behind creating this Ask Apollo platform was, uh, the whole idea was if you have a symptom, and the first tendency is for all of us is go to Google and start searching, and then it suggests everything from a cancer to a heart attack, and everything is so linked. So that is where I think we felt the need, and we created something called Ask Apollo, which kind of it is available on our website, on the app, and wherein the user can input all the symptoms, and for your symptoms, for your health, and basis all of that PHR data, which is your physical health, personal health records that we store at the back end. It is across all the hospital, diagnostic, all of those records. And using those records, the information that you get is basis both on the context of the symptoms as well as the user past history. And basis that we kind of throw outputs. It does differential diagnosis. So uh, the symptoms of COVID and a viral fever are very similar, or probably someone has a bacterial throat infection. Very similar symptoms. So how do you identify? So that's where it tells differential diagnosis, very high likelihood of this being a bacterial infection, but moderate likelihood of probably COVID, a semi-moderate likelihood of this have being malaria or something else. So that use case kind of worked out very well for us.
I think very nice because every time I put cough and cold, it mentions something else. Veda.
I won't say that it's a campaign that I'm going to give an example of. But what we did recently was that we had some really loyal customer base which we created as a cohort. And we wanted to understand their point of view while creating something new from the brand side. So it was a complete personalized strategy that how we are going to target these 250, let's say, users and ask for their recommendation and whatever inputs we got from them, we tried and implemented across something new which is coming up in some time. And at the same time, uh, I think I was really amazed by the response because each of those customers were like really amazed by, like, are you guys asking us what we should do? So we were like, yes, we want to understand your point of view. And it was like a verbal communication at a certain point. So it was a small survey, you can say, but on a personalization level, it was really impactful.
That's that's very cool. Um, I'll actually just very shortly give two examples. One where tech was used, and one where it's just humans. Uh, where tech was used in one of my previous companies, we did this entire metaverse campaign where you could go onto a website and answer 16 questions about yourself, personality kind of a test. And there were about 1.5 million different avatars that were created for those many people that they could then print as a POAP or a metaverse NFT that you could take. And that was purely yours. It had some play with the product itself. It went on to win a Cannes because it was personalization on that massive a scale. Uh, but it didn't result in business. It was a very branded, we understand our customer, we love you, and this is your representation, helped by the brand. Where I think personalization really, really shines through is the human to human interaction, much like what you said. What we do at Woodland, each of our store manager has at least 100 or 150 people that they are constantly on WhatsApp with, telling them that, hey, you kind of usually buy this kind of stuff. This is on sale. There's a new product that's come in. Usually you go traveling. Where are you going? Do you need like fleece lined hoodies or whatever? Or sir, sale 2 दिन में लगने वाली है. आ जाना आपके लिए रखा हुआ है. That personalization, hands down, the kind of ROAS you get, you don't get anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jitendra.
I think I'll quote two examples, and we have this KYC calling in the DNA of the company. Like every member, whatever level he is at, he has to make calls monthly, quarterly to the users and understand, right? And in a setup of where you have a large portfolio of SKUs for users, it becomes very difficult. Like from an ad perspective, the entry point must be one product, but you have a range of products, and it's very difficult for users to navigate through website and identify what he or she needs. Uh, so through KYC, we discovered that users are not able to identify more products, more subcategories we have. It is just a product page they are landing and just moving to the cart and buying. So through influencers, what we did is that again the FBT data together, and we built regimes, and through influencers we promoted that along with the sunscreen you also need a face wash, a moisturizer, and how that fits into your regime, and then curated a customized landing page of similar this thing, and we could see a 25 to 30% jump in AOV, right? So that was like a opportunity loss we were having. Second is there's a lot of these active based products which are that the trend is picking up. Uh, but most of users did not know that which compound acts, what is the role of that compound on skin. So we deployed again ML powered skin assessment tool where it will take your picture and identify the issues. Then we'll take a manual input as well that you have to select what all issues you are facing. Based on that, it will curate a list of products and suggest you to buy, uh, and again suggest a regime and how for how many days you will start seeing those changes. So from experience point of view, it adds up to like this conversion rate of your website, and that improved significantly on those users who took that test.
Awesome. I think I have learned a lot from the panel. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. If there is no question, then it was a pleasure speaking to everybody. Thank you so much.